Hey everybody, my name is Kevin Clayson and I'm actually one of the co-founders of a company called DFY. And today what we're going to do is we're going to spend about 40 or 45 minutes, actually maybe briefer than that, but I'm going to share some things with you about what DFY is and more importantly, what I hope DFY could potentially do for you. And DFY actually stands for Done For You. And it's actually, our company is called Done For You Real Estate. We are a real estate investment company, and today we're going to cover a couple things that I hope will be really helpful. Number one, we're going to talk a little bit about why there is kind of a retirement crisis that's happening coast to coast throughout the country, and we're going to talk about what are some of the financial challenges that you face and that I face in the current economy, and how do we navigate some of those. The second thing we're really going to be talking about is why we think that real estate is the solution to some of the retirement problems that are happening. We're going to teach you how to redefine your expectations and ultimately your results for your retirement utilizing real estate so we can begin to replace your income one real estate investment property at a time. And that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years with our clients. And the third thing we're going to cover is we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of something we call a game plan. And that is really just a personalized and a customized plan that we have found all of our clients need in order to move them from where they are to where they want to get to. And so what I thought would be really good to do is I wanted to give you a great overview of who we are and what we do. And we're going to do that with a quick video that I'm going to play behind me. So it's a 4-minute video. You're going to hear from some DFY clients and you're going to hear about what their experience has been. You're also going to hear from my business partner and our CEO, Steve Earle, and he's going to share a little bit of what it is that DFY has tried to accomplish for our clients over the last 10 years. As you watch this video, I want you to keep in mind that today is all about you. And this company has nothing to do with us or even real estate. It has everything to do with your ability to redefine your retirement. We just happen to be the ones that can assist you in that process as we've been doing for the last decade here in Utah. I'm so thankful that you're on with us today, and I'm so thankful I get a chance to share this awesome content with you. I promise it will be beneficial. I hope that it will be entertaining, and we're going to start it off right now with this brief 4-minute video that will give you a really good overview and introduction to DFY. So here we go.
Before we found Done For You Real Estate, I was working full-time and putting as many hours as I could in, and there was just no way for me to create any residual income, and I really felt like I was just going to be working until I died.
I was disabled in 1997, and so my income plummeted.
And I'd always wanted to do real estate, but I didn't have the education, the time, or the money to want to invest in what it would take to do it all by yourself.
I'm Steve Earle, CEO of DFY, and we have a framework that we want to teach you that will help you replace your current income through consistent, conservative, and predictable real estate investments. We have a mantra around the DFY office, and it is this: it's time to redefine your retirement, that is. And here's what I mean by that. Too many people have their eyes fixed on one day, hoping that traditional retirement plans, unpredictable market fluctuations, and accumulating a nest egg over a 30-year work career will be the answer. But what they should be focused on is freeing their family from financial burden at the speed of now.
I remember as I first learned about Done For You Real Estate, I said, this is going to do for real estate what mutual funds did for the stock market. And that to me was just remarkable, because that made stock available to everybody, even the little guy. And now suddenly Done For You Real Estate's making investing in real estate available for anybody.
I know what it's like to feel unsure and insecure about the future. We are bombarded by endless commercials from investment companies telling us what we're supposed to be doing to achieve financial peace, only to sit back and do the math and realize that we have a long way to go.
The first time that I met with the project manager, it was so surprising to me that they were able to take our current financial situation, and where I didn't see any options whatsoever to begin investing in real estate, they were able to find options that I didn't know even existed.
The first step is to schedule a call with one of our dedicated specialists. Sometimes you just need someone to help you see what you can't see. and nudge you in the right direction. Step 2 is to create a customized and personalized game plan. We take your answers from step 1 and help you combine those answers with your values, your specific wants, dreams, and wishes, and with the resources you have at your fingertips, and then help you understand how to insert this information into a framework that can begin replacing your income. Step 3 is you begin investing. You begin investing according to your plan, your values, and your resources.
Another thing that happened when I first started, with Done For You, is you guys pulled me in and says, hey, you buy your first house, and then, after a while, you buy another house, and you sell a house, and you buy 2 houses, and you guys said, hey, after 10 years, you could have 10 houses. And I thought, no way. There was no way that in 10 years I was going to have 10 properties. But as I bought more and more properties and sold one and bought 2 and sold another one and bought 2, I realized that what you guys said in the very beginning was exactly right.
DFY will give you everything you need to help you begin replacing your income, one real estate investment at a time. We deliver the properties, the financing, the insurance services, the property management teams, and everything in between so that you can keep starring in the movie of your own life without having to rewrite the script.
You realize, oh, that's right, I have to have insurance for all these homes. Oh, well, okay, all set. Call's already been made. Policy should be in your email in the next 5 minutes. Everything that you needed was anticipated.
It doesn't have to be super stressful and weighty and scary. Real estate investing can be fun.
Thousands of families have already begun replacing their income and redefining their retirement story using the DFY framework. Join us. Schedule a call today.
All right, so I hope that was helpful, and I hope it was a helpful introduction. So what I'm going to get into now is I want to talk a little bit about what is the current financial situation that a lot of us are facing. And then we're going to move into talking about specifically why real estate, there's really 4 things I'm going to cover that will specifically be why real estate, we think, is the answer to some of the retirement problems that a lot of us face. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about that game plan, because I want you to understand that it's really impossible to get to where you want to go unless you know exactly where you are and then the path from here to there. And that game plan creates that in a customized and personalized way for you. And so I'm going to pull the slides up, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it is that we're facing as Americans. So when you look at this idea of retirement, right, that's kind of a word that's thrown around a lot. The reason why we use it is it's really just language that's commonplace in the marketplace. The idea of retirement is really that eventually, after a long work career, you could potentially maybe have the ability to pull back a little and maybe do some of the things that you enjoy, maybe do them more often than you have the ability to do them while you're working. But here's what we found in the last decade of working with folks, is there's 2 things in general when you retire that you don't get to choose. And here's the 2 things. The first, you don't generally get to choose the time that you want to retire. It's either you work until 65, or maybe it's 67, or you work until you can file for Social Security. But generally speaking, you don't get to say, you know what, 10 years from now, I want to be done. Or at age 45, or at age 51, or whatever it is. Or you know what, the weather's beautiful outside, today I want to retire. You don't generally get to choose the time that you want to retire. That's the first thing. The second thing is you don't generally get to choose the income you earn while retired. So if you think about why that takes place, there's a few ways that most people look to retirement, right? It's either that they're going to get a certain amount of income coming from Social Security, and that's kind of that benchmark. That's what they're going to have. They don't really get to choose that. You don't get to write into the government and say, "Dear President Trump, I would like a 20% increase this year." It doesn't work that way, right? So you don't get to choose that. At the same time, if you've worked for a company for a long time, or like my mom, she worked for the school district for 20-something years. She doesn't get to choose her pension. It's given to her. Here's the dollars, ready, set, go. The third way that a lot of people retire is you have money that you've been faithfully and dutifully setting aside in a 401k or an IRA or something to that effect. Where you don't get to have control over those funds is if the market goes up and the market goes down, you don't get to dictate exactly how much is going to be in there. You may invest in your 401k and IRA and say, fingers crossed, I hope I get to $2.3 million come age 59, or when I have to start 59 and a half, when I can start taking distributions, or whatever it is, right? You generally say, well, I'm going to put it in there, we're going to let it ride, and fingers crossed it works out. When that time comes to start withdrawing, you are now having to do some math and calculate how long do I think I'm going to live, how much can I afford to use in conjunction with my Social Security. You're not generally getting to choose when you want to retire and the income you want to have come retirement. Well, today, what DFY has been doing for the last 10 years is what we want to do for you by starting with that game plan, which is I want to help you choose both of those things. Both the time you want to retire and the income you want to generate or have when retirement comes around. So how are we going to do that? We do it by redefining your current plan. The reason why we say it's time to redefine is we need to redefine what retirement is and how you get there. And here's what we know. We know that there is this concept of financial freedom, and a lot of times that concept of financial freedom is somewhat separate from the idea of retirement. Financial freedom is simple. Now, I know that it's kind of a buzzword in the industry. You hear it a lot in, the wealth industry, financial freedom, financial peace. And those are, it's a lofty ambition, and it sounds great, but rarely is financial freedom actually defined. And so what I wanted to do briefly is define it, because our job at DFY is to help you achieve real financial freedom, not just some idea of, gold-plated toilet seats and a helicopter pad on the top of your, 80,000 square foot mansion. That's what a lot of times people think of when they think financial freedom, that they have to achieve some level of wealth. I'm going to say financial freedom is something far different and frankly much more attainable. So what's financial freedom? It's this. Here's the definition of real, true financial freedom. When your residual income exceeds expenses. So this is simple. You have a certain amount of expenses right now. Let's call it $4,000 a month, right? I don't know what your expenses are. They may be a lot more than that. They may be a lot less. If you had a $4,000 bill every month between your mortgage and your, credit card payments and car payments and medical payments and insurance and whatever it is, let's say it's $4,000. Where you achieve actual peace and freedom is when you have investments that are generating $4,000 a month faithfully. Now think about it. If you could have $4,000 a month flowing in to replace that income or even exceed what your expenses may be, you're free. Residual income means it rolls in whether you decide to wake up and go to work or not. And I'm going to illustrate that here further in just a moment. It's this idea of income that continues to come in whether you get up and go to work or not. It's this idea that it's different from linear income. Linear income is I show up to work and I trade time for money, right? I clock in and I'm going to receive a certain amount of money for the time that I'm clocked in, or maybe you're salaried and you just get X, but you're kind of expected to work 40 or 50 hours a week, and so you're trading time for money. Residual income is not trading time for money. Residual income is having that money come in regardless of how much time you're dedicating to it. I hope that makes sense. It's similar to if you think of, here, I'm an author as an example. So I've got a book and money comes in from the book every month. I don't have to do anything. Amazon sends me checks, Audible sends me checks, Kindle sends me checks, Barnes & Noble sends me checks, and this is money that shows up. I wrote the book one time, I recorded the audiobook one time, and now every month it continues to pay me. Now, if I was selling enough books every month, that would be enough residual income to totally replace my expenses. Another example would be in the music industry. An artist can go into the booth and record a song one time, and that song could pay them forever. That's residual income, okay? It's different than trading time for money. And I want to show you an example. Now, I'm going to point out the numbers because I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but we have 3 examples of folks here that are just working individuals, and I want to ask you the question, which of these 3 has financial freedom? So the first individual is a doctor. Now she makes $250,000 a year, which is, by the way, almost $21,000 a month. She has $18,000 in monthly expenses, so she has a little bit more than her expenses when she's trading her time for money, when she's going into the ER or picking up the scalpel or picking up the stethoscope. And she has $450,000 in combined assets, but she has no residual income. All of her income is tied up in her ability to get up and put on her white jacket and serve her patients, okay? But she makes $250,000 a year. Okay, now, in the middle we have a general contractor, and he makes $86,000 a year. Now he has $6,000 in monthly expenses, and he has $1 million in raw land. So this guy on paper is a millionaire. He has $6,000 in expenses, but he has $7,000 a month that's coming in income when he works, okay? So these two make a far greater income than this third individual. This third individual is a school teacher. She makes $40,000 a year. Her monthly expenses are only $2,300 a month, but she, over time, has been replacing her income, one real estate investment at a time, over the last 10 or 15 years, and today she has 10 rental properties that produce $3,800 a month in residual income. That's not including appreciation, that's not including the actual value of the asset, that is just pure cash flow, net cash flow that comes into her. Almost $400 a month in rent above expenses that's coming in through her real estate on her 10 properties. So she's making $3,800 a month in residual real estate income. Her expenses are $2,300 and she makes $40,000 a year. So if I were to start this and say we have a doctor, a successful general contractor, and a school teacher, and I were to just say which one is the most financially free, most of us would say it's the doctor. But in reality, it's the teacher, because she has a simple residual income that's been built up with real estate, one property at a time, that now more than covers her monthly expenses. That is real financial freedom. How cool is that? Isn't that far more reachable than having to find a way to become a doctor and make $250,000 a year? We can make that or more or less and still be financially free if we have residual income. I hope that makes sense. So now let's talk about some of the challenges that face us as we look to this idea of creating financial freedom and having residual income. What are some of the things that get in our way? What are some of the challenges you and I face in order to get to that point where we feel comfortable? There's a few things. Now this may be hard to see, but here's what you need to know. Approximately 97% of American families make less than $300,000 annually. So here's what we know. Only 3% of the American population is making what most people would consider a really large income. Most Americans fall between $62,000 and $82,000 a year. Well, that makes it fairly hard to really get far ahead. And you may be asking yourself, what is your number? Based on your income and your age, how much would you need to be able to retire and maintain your current standard of living by having some sort of money that's there to replace your income? And so here's what you need to know. Over 80% of Americans are behind track. Over 80% of Americans lack sufficient funds in order to retire by maintaining their standard of living. Now, I wish that I was making these up, but I'm not. You can find these online. We find that the millennials are doing a little bit better. They're not as far behind the 8 ball, but we find that folks between 50 and 60 are about 80%. So the majority of the working class is 80% of them lack sufficient funds to retire. So again, the question is, if I'm facing this challenge, I want to be financially free, how much do I need to retire? And this number may shock you, but I'm going to share it with you. So here's the deal. If you had an annual income of $100,000 a year, and I just use 100,000 because it's a nice round number. So if you had an annual income of $100,000 a year, okay, but you don't have a lot of savings or anything like that, here's what you would need in order to replace that income come retirement. By the time you retire, if you retire at age 65, you would need over $1.4 million sitting in an investment account, sitting in a 401k, in an IRA, in a savings account, $1.4 million in order to have that income spread out over your projected lifespan and be able to replace your income. 1.4 by the time you're 65. So you could do this backwards and figure out the math and say, well, I mean, how on track are, this is, by the way, why 80% of us are behind the 8 ball. You could do the math and kind of figure out how much you would need to have if you're going to retire at age 65, right? You need to have 1.4 if you're 100,000. If you're not 100,000, if you're 60,000, you could do the math. You can find these calculators online. Let's say you need $1.1 million if you have a $60,000 lifestyle. You could say, all right, 65's over here. I'm right here. I need to have 1.4. How much do I have now? And then you could do some math and figure out how much you would need to set aside. I did that for you right here just to give you an idea. So if you have 20 years to go, if you're 45 years old and you're currently making $100,000 a year, and you currently have $200,000 in a 401k or in an IRA, and you are saving 10% of your income. Let me recap. You have 20 years left. You're making $100,000 a year. You already have $200,000 in investments, and you continue to faithfully save 10% a month every month. You will still, if that's what you do for the next 20 years, you will still be far short of where you need to be. You will only have $837,000 come age 65. You need 1.4. That's somebody making $100K, 200 already set aside, and saving 10%, okay? I share that with you not to scare you, but it's just to say, okay, look, traditional retirement planning doesn't work. The numbers are in, we've proved it. We know now, because the 401k has been in existence since the 80s, and it rarely, if ever, fully retires an individual. Not that the 401k or IRA is bad, those are awesome tools as a part of looking towards retirement. We're saying, is there a better way that gets you there sooner? And we think that real estate has the ability to do that, okay? So let me talk a little bit about why we like real estate as the solution. Because again, now remember, and I want to make this point. So if you have that $200,000 set aside in the account, right, in our example, and that needs to grow over the next 20 years, when age 65 rolls around, how are you going to interact with that big pile of money? In order to use it, what do you have to do with it? You have to deplete it, right? I have a pile. This pile needs to last me for the next 20 years. I'm going to take a little bit every single year, and slowly you're going to drop your pile. Hopefully it's still kind of in the market. Maybe there's a little bit of growth, but frankly, you know you're going to be, if you're replacing your work income, you're going to be pulling out a lot more for most people that is going to be going back in, even if the market is going through the roof like it has been in this last year, right? So what that means is you've got this pile, you're going to have to deplete the pile. And I want you to ask yourself this. When is the last time your 401k or your IRA or even your savings account cut you a big fat check without depleting the account balance? Here's what I mean by that. Has that pile of money ever cut you a check but still left 100% of the funds in that pile? The answer, of course, you and I both know it, is no. But what about real estate? This is why we love real estate. Real estate means you can have a pile of assets, and that pile stays intact. But what it does every month is it cuts you checks in the form of rent. Okay? Now, you may have a mortgage, but if you rent for here and your mortgage is here, that extra between what your expenses are and what your rent is, that comes to you every single month as income. So that means you can build a pile, and that pile will cut you checks every single month without fail if you're doing real estate the right way, and your pile stays intact. Now here's what that means. This is why our teacher making 40 grand a year over time had 10 leveraged properties that each generated $400 a month in cash flow, and her income was replaced. We weren't even talking about appreciation or tax benefits or any of that. That was just based on cash flow. We want to help you replace your income over time, one property at a time. Real estate gives us some really awesome features that most people don't really think of when it comes to real estate. So I want you to think a little different about real estate here to understand why we think real estate is such a valuable solution for most people like you and me, all right? Real estate helps you redefine your retirement because over time it replaces your income one property at a time. See, real estate does this thing where it creates that cash flow. How many Other types of investments create that real cash flow. Real estate is one of the few that creates cash flow without depletion of account balance, like we just talked about, okay? Here's another reason we like it. Real estate allows you, now I want you to think about this. Real estate allows you to buy with leverage. Okay, so here's what this means. If you wanted to go and get $200,000 worth of mutual funds, how much would you have to pay to receive $200,000 in mutual funds? Well, today at going market rates, you'd pay $200,000, right? And then you'd have your mutual funds, and then they should hopefully grow. They're still not cutting you a check. You'd have to deplete the account balance later, but you could trade 200 cash dollars for 200,000 cash dollars for 2,000 in mutual funds. But with real estate, it's different. What if you want a $200,000 asset in real estate? How much do you actually pay? Real estate allows us to partner with banks and allows the bank to pay for 80% of the home, and we pay for 20%. It's just a loan, right? You put 20% down, the bank takes care of the rest. You have an 80% of the value of the home is held by the bank in a mortgage, right? They technically have title, or at least own the property until you pay it off, okay? But you put 20% into the home, meaning 40 grand in order to get a $200,000 asset. Now here's the other thing that's kind of cool when it comes to real estate, right? You can leverage, you can put 40 grand down to get a $200,000 asset, and then in order to keep maintaining that asset, you have to pay your mortgage, right, if you're using leverage. But if you've done it the right way and you have renters and tenants, who's actually paying the mortgage? They are, right? And then they're giving you a little bit extra that you can take home, which is the residual income that you can use to replace your income. Isn't that cool? You can buy a more expensive asset for far less, and then you have somebody else actually paying for the maintenance on that, which is your tenant. This is why single-family residential investment real estate is one of the most powerful ways to create wealth, and it's why Warren Buffett's been such a fan of it for so many years, and a lot of others. There's other types of real estate, by the way. We specialize in single-family homes because they're simple, they're easy, they're straightforward, and we know that most people can manage single-family homes with our help without a lot of difficulty. A commercial building or an apartment complex, great method, but also a lot of headache. We like to create a system that allows, you know what a system is, right? It's an acronym, stands for saves you some time, effort, and money. And systems create predictability. Predictability creates a minimization of risk, and that minimized risk can hopefully give you some more potential profit. So we like systems. We use a system with really vanilla, it's not very sexy real estate, it's just classic real estate that works time and time again, month over month, year over year. That's why we do single family homes, so that you can put a little in, get a big asset, and it generates cash flow, okay? Now, what else do we like about it? Real estate, this is so cool. Real estate's one of the few things that provides money in multiple ways. So again, if we were to just use the stock market as an example, and I don't mean to rag on 401ks and IRAs and mutual funds, it's just an easy comparison. So if you have $200,000 in a 401k or in mutual funds, and it's not generating a cash flow, what's the only way that that money can actually produce a profit or a gain for you? It has to grow. The market has to go up. When the market goes down, you lose your growth. You have no control over that. And by the way, that's the other thing. You don't control the market, right? The masses, I don't know, magically control the market. And it just happens, and you log onto your phone or your computer and you go, oh, I'm up. And then you go, I'm down. And you really had nothing to do with it. It just is what it is. Well, real estate doesn't provide growth only by growing. It provides profits in multiple ways. Growth and appreciation is one of those. But we always say cash is king, right? The cash flow is important. The appreciation is an awesome gift if the market decides to give it to us. But if you look at real estate, you're getting cash flow, that's one profit center. You're getting potential appreciation, that's another profit center. You're getting tax savings, that's another profit center. So real estate actually allows you to gain multiple dollars with one single investment of capital. Hope that kind of makes sense. You put money in once, you have an asset, it generates cash flow, it generates tax benefits, and it has the potential to grow. So there's multiple benefits when you own real estate, and you bought real estate for less money than you could have bought something else, because if you utilize leverage, it gives you the ability to do that. You can also buy real estate cash. But you're still going to get all those profit centers. You're still going to see potential growth and tax benefits, and you're still going to get, the cash flow that comes. So either way, real estate becomes this really awesome way because it generates the ability for you to multiply your dollars. That's really all it is. Money goes in one time and comes out 3 times. It's kind of cool. Another reason we love real estate is it acts as a hedge against inflation. So inflation's going to be an issue. It's always going to be an issue. We're going to continue to see inflation right now and on into the future. But here's the cool thing with real estate. When you buy a home, okay, you lock in your interest on that home. And what I mean by that is if you buy a home at $200,000, you're going to pay some property taxes. They may raise your property taxes. But in general, you bought that home for $200,000, and if it appreciates over time because of inflation, you still bought it for $200,000 even though it's growing, right? Here's what's so cool about this. When things cost more, the prices of real estate go up, rents go up, the cost of building goes up. If you own a tangible asset like real estate, what it means is now you have a hedge against inflation because you have a real tangible asset that is going to grow in price, it's going to grow in rents, it's going to grow in everything because it's real estate. So real estate produces cash flow. Real estate allows you to buy with leverage so you can own a more expensive asset for less money. Real estate is able to be managed and ultimately paid for by your tenant. Real estate produces multiple profit centers and it acts as a hedge against inflation. These are all reasons why we really love real estate. But, okay, so we get it, right? Real estate, we like real estate could be good. Now, here's the next issue that we have to kind of address, and this is one of those challenges that a lot of people face, which is if you were to go invest in real estate on your own, what would that look like? What would be required? You might have to take a course, read a book, talk to your friend or neighbor or family member who invests in real estate, and then you get to go through the process of tremendous trial and error to figure out how to make it work and make it profitable. Real estate is unbelievably difficult if you don't know what you're doing, which is why you want to probably invest in an education. At DFY, we don't sell an education. In fact, it's totally free to come and work with us. We make our money when our people invest in real estate and actually do transactions. So in other words, we're not making money at DFY unless you're successfully transacting in real estate. Because we own a mortgage brokerage, and we own real estate brokerage, and we own the insurance company, and we own all of these pieces, so that all the pieces you would need to go do real estate on your own, we have in one place under one roof, and we give you somebody that holds your hand through the entire process, and then we're just making the money the way any of the other real estate professionals are going to make it out there. It's just we have it all in one place and under one roof. That's been a model that's worked really well for our clients, and why we've been able to help so many folks over the last 10 years kind of redefine their retirement and begin replacing their income. But if we were to talk a little bit more about what you have to do real estate on your own, what most would consider the normal way versus doing it with a company like Done For You, let me just give you an idea. The normal way is most people would invest in their local market because you want to be able to go and drive to it, you want to be able to manage the tenant. If there's a problem, you get the phone call on Thanksgiving night and they're going, oh, the pipe burst. You want to be able to be there and help and do something. So most people will invest in their backyard, usually within a 30-minute drive. Now think of what that does. It totally limits how many homes you have a chance to look at if you're only investing within about a 30-minute drive. You have the whole United States, but you can only invest right here because you want it to be manageable, right? So it's a little bit of a limitation. You want that proximity in case something goes wrong, in case there's an urgent repair. You want something you can see and touch and smell. You want to go and lick the paint and put your hand on the wall and make sure it's standing, right? That's part of why we invest locally. Then once you decide, this is where I'm going to invest, now you need to find an agent or somebody that can help you find the home, or you've got to do all the research. There's an expert who says, you need to go and look at 100 homes before you ever make an offer on one. So you could spend the hundreds of hours to go look at homes, or you could find an agent that knows the area, that knows your preferences, that knows what you want and what you're looking for. You're going to have to figure out what kind of real estate you want to do. Do you want to do single-family homes or commercial or duplexes or fourplexes or foreclosures, or do you want to do wholesaling, or do you want to do flips, or do you want to buy on contract, or do you want to do lease options? You'd have to figure out where to find the home, what kind of real estate to do, find the agent to do it for you. Then you're going to have to make sure it's the right price. It's going to give you the cash flow. You got to have a good exit strategy in place. What if you're going to need to do rehab? What contractors do you hire? What work needs to be done? Does it need tile? Does it not need tile? What color paint should it be in order to rent as quick as possible? These are all things you would have to consider if you were doing real estate on your own. Then you have to make the offers and play that game and lowball and counter and do all of that stuff until you finally get through the bidding war and you're able to actually get the home that you want to get. You put it under contract, and now you have to go find your financing and figure out where you're going to find the money. Are you going to buy on cash? Are you going to use a hard money lender? Are you going to go get a loan? What does it take to qualify for a loan? By the way, investment lending is a whole crazy world. Less than 5% of the people that are trying to get investment loans are able to actually get an investment loan on their first try. Our investment lenders, the people we work with, if you pre-qualify with them, they have a 97% success rate of getting you a loan on your first investment property. So it's quite a difference. But you're going to have to figure that out, right? Where are you going to buy? What kind of real estate are you going to do? Where are you going to find the home? How are you going to get it rehabbed? What price are you going to buy it for? Is it going to be cash flow? Where are you going to do all that work? Then you got to do your rehab, make sure it's done well. Then you're going to want to find the tenant, make sure it's a good tenant. You're going to do a credit check and a background check and all of these things. And you're going to have to decide if you want dogs or not dogs or cats or no cats and figure all that stuff out. Find the right tenant, put the tenant in the home, and then continue to manage the property in perpetuity in hopes that it's going to work out well for you. But that's all. That's all you'd have to do if you wanted to do it on your own. The reality is, then you'd have to keep looking at the market and decide, am I going to sell? Am I going to hold? What am I going to do? And you'd have to figure this all out on your own, or pay some expensive coach to talk you through the whole process. Well, the reality is, we saw that in the world of real estate investment 10 years ago, less than 3% of the people that wanted to get into real estate and bought an education ever went and actually transacted a property. So we wanted to create something different so that folks could actually succeed, so you could really redefine your retirement and not rely on strategies that we now know are broken and that don't work, that put 80% of us behind the 8 ball. We wanted to do something different. So that's why we created Done For You. And so I'll briefly talk about who we are as Done For You, and then we'll talk about the game plan, and then we'll wrap up, okay? So at Done For You, just to give you an idea of some of what we've achieved with our clients, we've done over 3,500 investment homes with our clients. They've seen over $75 million in equity growth combined, which is kind of awesome. That's $75 million of economic gain that they've seen. They've collected over $150 million in residual income, which is just awesome. And altogether, it's over $400 million in total assets acquired by our clients. I share all this with you not to say, look at me, look at me. I just want you to know that this is not new for us. This is something that we've been doing very successfully for a decade now with clients from coast to coast, helping each individual person redefine their retirement by beginning to replace their income one investment property at a time. Because that's really what it's about. It's about you, it's about your future, it's about your ability to get closer to the real freedom and sort of peace of mind that you're hoping for. It's about you freeing your family from financial burden, not necessarily just becoming wealthy because it sounds cool, right? It's about you and redefining your ability to live the life that ultimately you want to live, and we know that real estate can be a really awesome tool to help get you from where you are to where you want to go. So currently we have over 2,200 homes that are under management for our clients, meaning 2,200 out in the market that our clients are owning, that they're receiving cash flow from, that we continue to have our finger on for our clients and with our clients to make sure that our clients are succeeding. By the way, our clients make 100% of the profit, 100% of the gain. They get all the appreciation. We make our money when we help you transact real estate. That's it. You own it, but we help you stay on top of it forever. Okay, that's kind of how our model works. Just to give you an idea, here's Dr. Bill and Dr. Debbie here. They're fantastic. And they just said, within a few months of discovering DFY, we began purchasing single-family investment-grade properties in 4 of the best markets in the country. We and our retirement accounts now own 7 rental homes, all of them delivering substantial equity growth and cash flow. If you're wondering what markets we invest in, I don't have time to go over that right now, but if you click around on DFY-realestate.com, We go over some of the markets and some of the statistics. You can scroll down on DFY-realestate.com. You'll be able to see properties. You can see actual deals. You can see deals our clients have closed. You can look at the numbers. There's so much information there so you can see that this is real. In fact, on DFY-realestate.com, you remember those results I showed you? We actually have the last 3 years of transaction reports. You can see exactly how many homes we did for our clients, what their prices were, how quickly they got rented out, because all of this is fine and good, but if you acquire a home and you don't have that renter paying the mortgage and providing that cash flow for you, the whole model kind of falls apart. So it's vital that you have a good tenant that's paying their rent so you can pay the mortgage and the expenses and you can make that cash flow. And so you can see all of that right on our website, DFY-realestate.com. But to talk a little bit more about what we've tried to create for you is we've been able to, instead of just investing in your local market, we've been able to remove geography as a condition for investing. You can invest in markets all across the country where we have teams there in the market that are assisting you step by step, hold your hand through the process, front to back, top to bottom, so you don't have to invest within 30 miles or 30 minutes of your home. Here's the other cool thing. You don't have to spend lots of money up front to learn. There's no money up front. Again, you're only spending money when you're transacting real estate. And that's really important to us because we want you to be able to get a game plan that's totally free. Be able to talk to a project manager that's totally free. Be able to go through the pre-qualification process that's totally free. And then you're able to put a home under contract. That's the first time you're writing a check, and that's for earnest money. Okay, and I want you to know that, because that's the process of helping you redefine your retirement. That's how we can hold your hand and assist you so you can be the hero of your story and we can just be your guide through that process. Here's another one. If you were to do it on your own, you're spending hundreds of hours of reviewing. With us, you get a game plan, you make sure that this is a good fit for you, you sit down with one of our project managers and you really decide what markets you're going to invest in, and from there, we're going to talk a little bit more about what price range you're looking for, what sort of hope you have for your future, how does it fit into your game plan, and then we're showing you properties. We're bringing you properties that fit the DFY model, that are the right type of purchase price with the right kind of cash flow in the right kind of market so you can make money with real estate and not just have it as a liability that's putting you backwards. So it's only going to be a little while reviewing those homes as we show them to you. Here, what about this one? No? Okay, what about this one? That's how simple it is, okay? The normal way is you personally have to execute hundreds, if not thousands of steps, like I shared with you earlier. With us, it's just a handful. Get a game plan, sit down with your project manager, decide where you want to invest, pick the property. We kind of take it from there. You'll go through the financing process, but we're there to hold your hand. So it's only a handful of steps as opposed to figuring it all out on your own, okay? To kind of summarize, the normal way of doing real estate, you find it, you get it fixed up, you finance it, you manage it, you sell and lease it, you figure out your next steps, and it could be risky, it could be unpredictable, it also could be profitable. With us, we find the right homes in the right markets for you. We get it fixed up and ready for you so that you are leasing a beautifully rehabbed property to your tenants. Then we help you get the financing for it so you aren't having to go and hunt to find where that's going to be, and then we make sure that you get it leased out. We do the process with you of selecting the tenant and managing the tenant in these markets where you maybe don't live. And then we even let you know when it might be time to sell and might be time to take the gains from one property and put it into two. Because that's really the game plan. We want you to buy one, but that one can turn into two, and those two into four, so on and so forth, until you have a portfolio that's totally replaced your income. So you could do it all on your own, or you can have it done for you, where you have a system that increases predictability and minimizes risk. That's kind of what we've tried to put together for you, for our clients, and we've seen some really great success with it. So to just kind of summarize and close here, how can you replace your income one investment property at a time? It all starts with just this really simple game plan. So we have 3 steps that we always talk about. Step 1 is you schedule a call with one of our dedicated specialists who will help you understand where you are and where you want to get to. It's kind of like this. If you ever walk into a brand new mall and you've never been there, what's the first stop? Well, it might be pretzel time. But after that, you usually will go to the map and you want to see that little star that says you are here, And then you look for the store that you want to get to, right? And then you find the path to get you from here to there. The game plan process is just that. Where are you? Where do you want to go? And what is the best next steps for you to take? So you just schedule a call. It's totally free. It's really easy to do. Then you'll get your actual game plan framework in place. And then you just begin investing according to your values, your resources, and your goals. When you schedule a call, by the way, knowing exactly where you are, where you want to go, that doesn't take a ton of time. It could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes if you have a lot of questions. And you'll talk to one of our folks and they'll be able to really get a feel for where you're at and where you want to go and what you have the potential to create, how long it may take you to replace your income beginning this process. They are really expert at this, and I think you'll really enjoy that conversation. And it's totally free. There's literally nothing to lose by jumping on and just having a brief conversation to see where you're at and what the potential could be. And then when you actually, in step 2, get your game plan framework, this is going to make sure that you're investing with a plan and investing on purpose. It's not just throwing spaghetti on the wall, I'm going to be a real estate investor, let's go. It's where should you invest first? What market should it be? What price range should it be? What cash flow do you need? And how does that lead to home number 2? So it's investing with a plan and a purpose. That's why you'll love having that game plan framework that's totally and specifically designed and customized for you. And then finally, step 3, you begin investing. Now this is important. You invest according to your resources, your values, and your goals. My game plan is different than yours. You may only need 5 properties to be able to replace your income. You may only need 2 free and clear properties. You may want to have 10 or 15. I don't know what it is. But it's going to be according to your values, your goals, and what you're hoping to accomplish in the time frame you want to accomplish it in. Remember, most people don't get to choose when they want to invest in the income they want. This game plan process allows us to uncover both of those for you and then put a plan together so that you can do it and redefine your retirement utilizing real estate as the step-by-step process to get you there. So it all starts with a really simple and brief conversation. It's really easy to have that conversation. You can email us, gameplan@dfy-realestate.com, gameplan@dfy-realestate.com, or you can visit dfy-realestate.com, and you can just visit this. This will take you right there, dfy-realestate.com/schedule. But just so you know what the website looks like, when you go to that site, you have 2 choices. You can either fill out a little form. We actually have our phone number at the top if you just want to call us. That's fine. It's 801-204-9061. So our phone number, if you just want to call us, feel free. We're here. 801-204-9061. Or you can fill out a form and we'll call you within 1 business day. Or even better, if you just know a time that's going to work for you over the next week, when you click this button right here, it's going to bring up our scheduler. And you can pick a time that's going to be free. Pick your time, and then we'll give you a call at that time. This is the website, dfy-realestate.com, and you'll see a couple buttons. One says watch a video. That's if you want to watch that 4-minute video we showed you at the beginning. But if you click that button right there, it's going to take you to the scheduling page. Okay, really simple. And then you'll be able to get that call. You'll be able to get a framework that's right for you, and then hopefully, maybe, you can begin investing according to your goals, values, and resources. I just want to help you redefine your retirement. And I know that it can be done 1 real estate investment at a time if it's a good fit for you. And I want to make sure you know that I know that not everybody's going to invest in real estate. I just know that if 80% of us are behind the 8 ball and 80% of us are relying on an account balance that we're going to have to deplete till the day we die, maybe there's something we can do that's different. And maybe that different thing could be real estate that provides cash flow and multiple profit centers and allows us to buy with leverage and all of these neat things and acts as a hedge against inflation so that you can overcome those financial challenges and not be behind the 8 ball, but rather be on the road to real, actual financial freedom by having your income replaced by residual income being generated from cash flowing real estate investments. So that's all I have for you here today. I'm super thankful that we had a chance to spend some time here together. Please visit dfy-realestate.com. Schedule a game plan. Let's have that phone call. It's free, it's simple, it's totally non-obligatory, no obligation whatsoever. It's literally just a conversation. But maybe we can look at something that might make a real difference for you. So I just want you to ask, is trading 10 or 15 minutes of your time worth the potential of a redefined retirement and a financially free future? I hope that you think it is, and I hope that we get to have that phone call with you. Click around dfy-realestate.com. I think you'll see lots of good resources there, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, and we look forward to meeting you in person and hope that we'll be calling you a DFY investor really soon so that you could begin to redefine your retirement one real estate investment property at a time. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. We hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.